Welcome back to the Tough Love Podcast with Dr. John O'Connor. Today's guest, my oldest friend, my partner in life, as well as most of my businesses, Jessica O'Connor. Welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Thank you for having me.
So today's podcast is all about what a power couple is and how do you get there? You know, the lows, the highs, the things that go into that and everything in between. So one of the things that I wanted to do as we were coming to the end of the year was really feature us. And why is that? When over the last couple of weeks, we were looking at really ramping up, you know, the two businesses that we already have in our Monmouth County areas. And then we have a new business opening up outside of the county. And we started looking at business coaches. And one of the things that really resonated with me, and, you know, again, both equally successful, but I'm a personality that's always looking to evolve and develop, and what worked yesterday doesn't work today kind of mentality. And I was staring at the Elliots. And when I saw them, I was like, you know what? We could do that. We've been that non-publicized for decades in velocity when we, you know, climb to the top of the list in life, in the communities we've lived in the sports that we've touched with our children. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look on it, with regards to social media, people love to see you in your life. And one of the things that I had noticed is that, you know, and this is a compliment to Jessica, is that she's been really working her butt off as the acting, the most participatory, I don't know the word I'm looking for. She is definitely face forward for our one company, Velocity Wellness Institute. And she is, you know, leading administrative, leading sales. I mean, she is the heart and soul of that business. And one of the things that I saw is that, and the power of social media is probably in the last 2.5, maybe 3 months max, she's been pushing herself out onto the social media world. And, you know, let's just get the drums going. This is, you know, a young lady that's no stranger to the camera as a former Division I cheerleader, dance team member, and an NFL cheerleader. She loves being in front of the camera, but I think she forgot that, you know. And the funny thing about it was we were out to dinner for one of our, you know, weekly date nights on a Thursday. And it actually caught me off guard so much that it caught her off guard. And, you know, somebody had walked up, and it's not, you know, uncommon for somebody saying they saw a fitness post of mine or a podcast, and they came up right away and they said, is that your wife over there, right? Oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's my wife. That's Jessica. And they said, oh wow. She was posting this procedure and we just loved it and want to know more about it. And I had started laughing because I was like, huh. And the funniest part about it, you know, when we have these kind of conversations, is that when I had made her aware of this, I think she was taken aback because it's normally something that would be a role reversal situation. And I think for me, I was beyond proud in that moment. I had said, like, I wanted to be like, I told you so, and see. But I think for her in that light or epiphany, I said, you know, you could really dominate this space. And because not only are you beautiful, intelligent, charismatic, but you have a natural sense of humor. And, you know, I think that's a little bit of your Aunt Judy and your dad and your mom and, you know, and Grandma B and all the people that you've met. But like, it's an amalgamation of all those personalities that you hold near and dear to you that create this dry, you don't see it coming, hysterical joke dropper. and but very witty at the same time. So at any rate, when we talk about power plays, I think 2025 is going to be our year to bring it to the world as an us. And so get ready for it, because I'm not really giving you a choice. But thank you for doing that on your own. I'm sure there were some motivations that were, unforeseen to you, but nonetheless, you took it on in a way that I was very impressed with. So.
Thank you. I think that what makes it exciting is being perfectly imperfect and sharing that authentically, is bearing it all. And whether it be in person to your friends, in our clinic setting to our patients, or on social media, which is new for me, it's letting people know that, hey, I have all these imperfections like everybody else, and this is what I'm doing to work on them. Like the dog walking into our area right now, but he's so okay. Cute. But I think that resonates with people. I think that we see so many things that are fake, and I try to be real. A really good friend of mine said to me about 6 months ago, something I love about you is that you're always authentic. You don't sugarcoat it. You don't try to be something you're not. You're not impressed by things. You're your authentic, true self. And I think I really do try to be that. And it was such a compliment to hear this person share that with me, that it motivated me to be more of that. And sometimes it's off the cuff funny, and sometimes it's serious. And I had a day a week and a half ago where I was hugging more than one crying patient in the office. And that was a day that made me feel like I was doing something of major purpose. It was
a little Patch Adams effect.
Very much so. It was important for me. I was happy to be able to help that person.
I think the bricks that built the walls of Velocity were, that brick and mortar in our first location was constructed by that heart and soul approach. And, so many times I run into people, and it used to be a handful and it's thousands, especially with, new fitness clubs and new fitness centers, and us being out and attending events at industry and remembering patients or clients or, their parents or loved ones, and saying, what an amazing role we played in their lives, and you went back to, the authentic you. I think the funny thing about it was when you had said that to me, I laughed because I would always tell my friends, I feel like Ralph Macchio and the Karate Kid, and you were, that girl in the big house on the hill. And,
You're taking it back.
I'm bringing it back. Listen, people, I may look young, but I am old as hell. And, but all kidding aside, but you weren't, I had met so many people during that time, that were pretentious, that were not nice. And you were remarkably humble. Matter of fact, beyond humble, you didn't even acknowledge it. Like it wasn't even a thing to you. You were so kind and endearing and just genuinely sweet that I laughed, because I thought, wow, I know in those situations, a lot of people, and I see it with now having our own kids, our own teenagers, that the scary thing about it is our kids are our age, essentially, when we met.
I know.
And I was thinking about that the other day as you're approaching a big number this year, I'm sitting on it, and I go, you know what? It is amazing, what we've accomplished, what we've been through. And one of the things that I remember you saying this, and it was when we had multiple locations and I was running around, and I think this is the big thing about being a power couple is knowing your roles. And sometimes knowing when you're going to be the captain, even though you're wearing you're not wearing the skipper hat.
First mate.
And when you need to be the boss. And one of the things that really hit me was, I believe we had 2 or 3 little satellites going. And this was when, before we owned 231, we were in the same location all the time, as opposed to being scattered all over the place. And we were getting super busy. And timeline wise, I believe your mom might have even been working. And
yeah, she was.
And what's up,
You're
Turbo?
kicking it old school right now.
Now, the funny thing about it is, because history teaches you, right? It teaches you what you did wrong, what you did right. It's like watching, I always bring my podcast back to sports film. There's a reason why coaches on Saturday watch Friday film, because you're looking at history because it happened yesterday and what yesterday could be learned to make a better tomorrow. So much like with Cody.
He's a little lost this
So he's having a day today. So Cody, you enjoying the podcast? So at any rate, the focus of what I wanted to talk about with you today is 2025, the vision, the staying on purpose, staying connected. One of the things that I thought was super important was, and I threw us into that Andy Elliott circle because we've always been elite athletes. You were a professional cheerleader. I was a professional basketball trainer. And actually, I can't wait. I don't know if I shared this with you. I was on the phone with one of my NFL players, and he called me and was like, Doc, I am beyond proud of you. Like I can't believe you're 50. I'm showing my friends what you look like and telling them the war stories when you brought me back from my Achilles to get me back to the league, and that you've just reinvented yourself. And I said, it comes at a price, bud. You remember when you got your disability credentials from the NFL? I remember seeing that full body scan and I was ready to cry. You had fractured bones and
so young
and all these crazy things that we didn't even know that were even more than the other injuries. And, and it was a dollar amount put on there. But, in my head, I was saying to myself, was it worth it? And the funny thing about it was he said something that was crazy. He was always gifted and always expected and just thought he'd be playing football. But his greatest accomplishment was beyond the lines. It was the 10 years, not the 10 years in the game. It was the 10 years after. And, and that was kind of the point of today's podcast, is that sometimes what you think is going to be the most exciting may not be. And that when you realize that your most exciting times could be in front of you, that planning, that preparation, that ability to connect is so important. And that, one of the things that a dear friend, mutual friend of both of ours would always say to me, and Sam Shaw would always say, iron sharpens iron. And, I think for us, I always am the bum rush the room and figure it out on the way in. And you're always like, walk softly and carry a big stick and smack the first one that moves,
Cheers to that. And, I think that our differences are what make us great. It's what works. You excel in certain parts of our businesses and I excel in other parts. And that makes it whole. We don't really need many other people to create success in different avenues. We have to stay true to who we are and what our strengths are and bring that together and not be in opposition.
Agreed.
Opposition, it's wasted energy. There's no reason for it. If we just stay in our lane, it comes together nicely. I think there's something that happened the other day and you were just like, oh, okay, that's great. I like that idea. And you're going to move forward and present with it. I got a lead the other day. I threw it on your lap. You're the one that needs to connect with that lead better than me. I'll do the work behind the scenes, but it works. And we have to let go. And I think I'll bring you back to a memory downstairs in 231 Maple. My mom was our receptionist. This is a really long time ago. And we were both trying to be these independent physicians that just started our practice. And she said, the two of you need to decide who has what role. in this business. And it was very good advice because it made us lose our egos and figure out what's going to work best for the business.
100%. And, it's funny. One of the things that I would say is, with the new venture, like even the coaching, consulting, we've been doing that for 2 years with Velocity HP Performance and just branched out into the longevity space. And the one neat thing that we learned was how hard it was to find actual competence, not assumed competence. How many attorneys that we had to seek out that literally said they could do it, and whether they were untimely or they didn't know, the answers were unbelievable. And the one thing that resonated with me there was, this is an opportunity. I want to be genuine. I know that what I'll bring to them is the energy and enthusiasm. I will show them how to brand and how to deliver it.
And the knowledge to set it up right and carry it to the next level correctly.
The knowledge and the administrative pearls. And I was in a conversation with that referral you threw to me today. And it said, I was like, this is Dr. Horowitz. And then one of our new team members that are versed in that aspect will be coaching on that. What I will do is look at your big picture and talk dollars and cents and make sure the 3 partners or 4 partners that you have are key members, right? Because we always talk about this key man or key woman group, if you will, to make sure they're in the right position. And if they're not in the right position, when you take on this new, adventure, right? You have to make sure, because there's one thing, I'll always remember my junior or senior year economics class when they would say the 5 Ps: prior preparation prevents poor performance. And, that's what we want to offer with Velocity HP Coaching. And when I initially started that, I didn't have you in place for that because I thought that I wanted my own independence. But the reality is, you allow me to have independence. And that is the grace that you provide to me. So I think that by explaining to them that they have to have those different parts in the company, it illuminates that picture. And it was an aha moment today when I was on with the gentleman. And I said, well, tell me about your company. And, he said all the parts, and he had everything already set up as far as the corporate structure, but they just really didn't know. And, it is funny, almost you could hear the youth in him. And we were there too and made that mistake where he said, well, we want to do it in-house. And I said, well, the problem is, and I do this all the time when I'm coaching in the biotech space with MedRay Laser and Technology, is what does in-house know? And because the patient that you're practicing on, what's up, buddy? The patient that you're practicing on is expecting you to have a level of competency.
To not be practicing.
You can't be practicing the medicine. You can have a practice, but this can't be a practice run. And so with that being said, when I said it to him that way, go see mommy. And, when I had that conversation, he was like, wow. Light bulb went on. And, and it was neat because, the one thing, and we've been there, actually, you were on that call. We were on our way up to that fitness event, and, that doctor was remarkably impressive with regards to the success of his practice, but had no understanding of what to do and how to do it with the technology that we use every day. And it's commonplace to us.
That we take for granted.
Yeah.
Right?
And so once I started there and made it more human and relatable, then I realized, I'm like, listen, let's adjust the pain points. You have an upper cervical practice. The average, DC or doctor of chiropractic doesn't even know what that means, right? And so when he's having these conversations with these patients, he's struggling to understand what, how, and the why. And so we could provide that as a service, as a team, it brought in a huge level of clarity for him. And the success has been now resonating where he's 3 weeks in and crushing it,
It's that education value.
Without a doubt. The one thing that, I want your feel on attending an interactive event, like like an Andy Elliott event.
I'm a little nervous.
So
I got to get myself emotionally ready for anything strenuous. I'm not as at ease as you are as at putting yourself out there. I think that I do end up getting there. It just takes me a little bit longer. I don't know what we're getting ourselves into, but I'm excited about it. And I think that personal and business this last 2 years for us has been up and down, ebbs and flows. It's had its good times and it's bad. And I think that this is a great way for us to come together in both aspects of our life together and put ourselves out there.
Agreed.
Come home and like share what we experience. Okay. And then get to that next level together in business and together personally. I think that this last year's been stressful, saying goodbye to our freehold office, some personal stuff we've been dealing with, family members having issues that we've had to really get our head around and be there for. This age that we are brings so many different facets of life stages, right? Like your kids leaving and the idea of an empty nest is a really hard
kids coming home.
experience. Kids coming home. Yeah, but that's going to be, it's beautiful stress.
Without a doubt.
Beautiful stress.
You're making an impact. One of the things that really hit home for me, that our message is way more powerful than we realize to people we see in our regular walk of life and every day. And more importantly, the people we care most about, like our kids, And I know
and
we
each
have,
other.
Yeah, 100%. I know we have a fiercely independent daughter, and I love that because I think that, I don't think there's anybody really going to be taking advantage of her if they want to keep all their fingers. But as far as like, our son, today it was awesome because he knows whether he acknowledges it or not, we always know he's bright. We've tested that out enough. But the funny thing about it was, I think every parent gets to a certain point of life that they want to be able to still show their kids something of value. At least I know that was something that I always appreciated with my dad, and very different, right? As it was always, outdoor related. Had a great hunt this morning with friends. We were over in a beautiful historic area of New Jersey called Millstone. And it's probably the most memorable part of the state that my father and I have hunted in, and my dad's oldest memory that he hunted with his father. And
I don't think I knew that.
He said it today, and as they're getting older, and I believe as their health is fading, it's amazing how they shared a much more surreal and calm, especially him, with what he's dealing with. And I couldn't wait to send that calm sunrise video to him.
It was beautiful.
Saying, Dad, I really wasn't into going today, but I couldn't miss the opportunity for the O'Connors to be in Millstone on opening day because you're here with me. And much to that point, when I saw the opportunity to go to Andy Elliott, I was looking forward to saying, when we step ground off that airplane, the O'Connors will be present, and we'll also be a reckoning. And I think, it was funny. My partner in crime with regards to 50 Fit Journey, Kim, our mutual friend, is a powerhouse in her own right. And she said something, and I think it's going to be a podcast in the future for you too. And it's the truth.
I hope so.
Is that, you guys are a very powerful couple, as far as a duo rather, that command a significant amount of attention and respect. And again, there's an audience for every speaker. And the reality is that, there's a reason why there's 60 people on the team, but there's only one captain. Because any team that says they have 60 captains and 60 members, I'm going to show you a losing record. Okay. And it's
not going to work.
It's not going to work. But the reality is that, today, a power couple, presentation or, what we're chatting about today is really about like being in the ocean. And sometimes it's super calm and you can just wade in the water. And then sometimes it's super rough and you got to battle. And, you know, and regardless,
you have to fight.
Yeah. And I think that I know for me, and you've been here for more years than not, you know, I've had the fortitude to battle my life issues with regards to being paralyzed as a kid, or flare-ups, or a broken back, or
Hernias,
a fractured skull, the rebuilt knee,
shoulder, labral tear.
Yeah.
My bionic man.
And when I see people that see me, you know, the blessing, and they said, you know, you're pivoting into the longevity space. I said, out of necessity. And, you know, most things that, you know, are great and have great value do become born out of necessity.
You do like to remind me to take my NAD.
Yes, I do.
With my family history.
Correct. And, you know, but like I said, I think that, you know, whenever, and for me, I knew that this is going to be an interesting one, because I know that when I have family members on, I tend to get super emotional. And, you know, we've always said this is like, you're firing or hiring somebody to get in the power seat, but this is a house that we built. So these are our seats. And, you know, and I know that we got to kind of get ready for the Elliott tribe's language. I know they say it's the lion's den, right? And, you know, but the reality is that for us, I feel like, you know, we have always been, you know, and I loved it I think it was the movie 300, and the warriors would scratch the line. And they knew instinctively with their youth that when they put the two children up, one would immediately attack and they would be a warrior. And if the one didn't move, they would become an academic or a service provider in the community, because it wasn't in their instinct. I think for us, we've always instinctively been warriors. And I think for you, you are the warrior that is of the most dangerous variety, because it's the one that you don't expect. And that when pushed, you will come. And that was something that really kind of resonated with me on a whole nother level, because I've always just, you know, assumed and expected and probably a lot of words that people would be like, wow, he's a lot. And, you know, I think that it has shown me, especially with the year that we've had between, you know, family, personal, and everything, and financial. I mean, we hit it from all aspects to the point where
it hit us.
Yes. And, you know,
let's be authentic. It hit us from all aspects.
Yeah. And I have to say that when those kind of things happen, a lot of lives and relationships and businesses and teams and franchises, they fall apart. And I have to say that, you know, I am pleasantly surprised that, you know, in the wake of everything, that we stand, and most importantly, you stand alongside me.
You know, a good friend of mine, another good friend, said to me that sometimes everything has to break for it to build back stronger. And she related to a bone. You fracture your bone and it builds back stronger than it was before, but it had to break and it had to hurt and it splintered and there were pieces and fragments. But once it came back together and healed, it's stronger than it was before. And I think that when she said that to me, I will take that with me for the rest of my life. And that is something that's very true. Things that we take for granted, sometimes they break and people run away. They don't want to work hard to get it to mend or stick around for things to mend. But I think that this year has, if it's taught me anything, it's taught me that you don't give up and you don't walk away. You fight like 300. You fight.
Where, let me tell you something. This holiday season, starting with Thanksgiving, has been special. And, you know, I'm always the sappy Charlie Brown one of the two of us. And I have to say that, you know, when I'm hosting a podcast or I'm, you know, just talking about something and I just have the ability to just go solo, this has probably been one of my most enjoyable. So thank you so much for
jumping on me. I'm honored to be here with you.
So thank you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Jessica, thank you. And thank you as an audience and, you know, being our guests as watching us talk about our lives and our story. If you enjoyed this, please share it. You know, we only grow by the clicks that you guys put as far as giving us a like or forwarding it on. So again, happy holidays. God bless you all. And we'll see you again soon.
Happy holidays.